Can I quit my job and start an Airbnb short-term rental? Can I start with no credit? Can I start with low risk and little upfront money? Can I start and scale to a multi-million dollar business quickly? These are often the questions I hear repeatedly during coaching calls and coaching sessions from all of you when I am asked if I could quit my job and start an Airbnb business. I simply respond every time by saying, once you become serious and intentional about your purpose, you can quit your job to start an Airbnb short-term rental business with no credit, with little upfront money, and you could scale quickly to a multi-million dollar business. And if you'd like to know how, stick around and follow these steps. Let's dive in. Hi everybody, I'm Edward Bilder, millionaire, real estate investor, entrepreneur, coach, educator, engineer, dad, whichever you want to call me today. That's me in a nutshell. This is the channel that provides you an all-access pass to everything cash flow, capital, and credit to ensure you have the right financial literacies for business success. Stop saying I'm in a side hustle and start saying I am open for business. In 2021, there was approximately 8.5 million active listings on the Airbnb platform, and nearly 150 million people each month use that platform to book their short-term rental experience. So when I'm asked, is there room in there for me to quit my job, totally quit my job, and just go and live off of an Airbnb short-term rental business, I say yes. You can quit your job and start an Airbnb short-term rental, whether you're working a 20-hour week, a 40-hour week, a 60-hour week. You can get this done by following these steps. Step number one is to create a plan. By far, one of the number one reasons I love Airbnb so much is for the opportunities of financial freedom, financial choices, and it doesn't matter what age you are. Airbnb doesn't care if you're 18 or 75. You can get out there and start in this platform today, so it's for all of you, okay? I spend any time I want with my children. I choose my own schedule, and if you follow me for the last 2 years, you've heard me say a few times that every day I wake up after a great night of sleep and I find more and more piles of money appearing in my bank account. It's like magically, boom, more and more money appears each and every day. You can achieve this too. And where I started, I had to first create a plan in order to understand how I was going to do this. And that was, how much money do I need to come in each month in order to supplement exactly how much money I'm pulling in from those services in that particular job. In your case, this is a job. Boil that down to a monthly number of exactly how much you need each and every month to survive. Maybe it's $3,000, maybe it's $5,000, maybe it's $10,000, whatever that number is, okay? Decide if you have any savings. Divide that monthly number by the amount of savings that you have, and this will give you an approximation of how many months you have until you run down to nothing, right? You've just measured your wealth over the next few months, okay? If you have no savings, I'm here to tell you that you could still get this done. Of course, it does take a little bit more time and a little bit more creativity, but you too can find yourself also scaling to a multi-million dollar business. It doesn't matter if you have savings or not. That's how beautiful this program is. Do this step before you advance to any other step and determine exactly how much monthly you need and how much savings you have to figure out how much time you have remaining in your current job. Step number two, choose a model. I know what you're thinking, right? Which model house would I like, right? No, not necessarily which model house. In the Airbnb short-term rental space, the business model has essentially, it boils down to 3 different types of models. And they are, you can go out and purchase a short-term rental. That means you go out and buy the property. You can do this through rental arbitrage, where you rent a space and then re-rent it on the Airbnb platform. And last, through partnerships, where you partner with other individuals who currently own real estate and they are not found on the Airbnb short-term rental space. They are more inside the long-term renting models. Now, if you decide to go down the path of purchasing your first Airbnb short-term rental, I will tell you that there's a much higher barrier to enter. It's approximately $60,000 to $80,000 to get into this market. So having that down payment and better credit will definitely affect you in this. And of course, time and escrow will be wasted approximately 60 to 90 days to close on that property. You also have a higher risk of market volatility. It's harder to exit because naturally you'd have to sell that property in order to change markets. This is more ideal for the slow building of wealth versus the long-term building of wealth. A short-term rental would pay you back in approximately 2 years' time. It's not ideal for the quit your job scenario, okay? There's a lot of money that has to be put down up front, and of course, much slower payback. So supplementing that through your income is not as quick of a process. Now, there is a lot of money to be made in this space if you're out there buying the properties for the experienced buyer. I will certainly say that. Now, another model is arbitraging, which the barrier of entry here is a little bit lower, $15,000 to $25,000. No credit is needed here and no mortgage is needed here, right? You're essentially renting a space from a long-term manager who essentially does not wish to rent it on Airbnb. You take over that day-to-day management. You have a much lower risk of market volatility here because naturally you could break that lease and just move your furniture to another location. Far less time is involved in opening. You could be set up in approximately 3 days if you're really good at this process, okay? And your payback is much faster. You start to see a payback anywhere between 6 months to a year, and the cash flow comes to you within 3 days' time. It's pretty fast if you have that property set up really quickly, okay? Now, always be careful when you're evaluating this market for seasonality. You might have very great winters or very great summers, but then see the opposite happen when the seasons start to change. Make sure you're calculating that to an average monthly throughout the year when you're factoring in exactly when you could quit your job, okay? If you take a dip and you see less cash flow coming in that low seasonality point and you didn't factor that in, you might find yourself coming up short when it comes time to pay that monthly rent over to the landlord. And last model here are partnerships where you get into as little as $0 up to $15,000. I say $15,000 because maybe you might have to give a little and purchase the furniture and not necessarily have that landlord who owns the property, who's giving you that property at no rent, no down payment, no deposits, right? And potentially can either split the furniture with you or nope, you pay nothing for furniture or you pay for all of the furniture. That's kind of why we go up to about $15,000. Very low barrier to enter, no credit needed here, no mortgage, just an agreement between you and the current landlord of exactly how much you're going to split your share out. And depending on who has more money, more stake in the game, you might have to adjust your shares accordingly, okay? There's really no risk of market volatility because you could just break off your partnerships if you have zero skin in the game. Obviously, you did not waste any money. You're really just wasting time at this point, okay? Now, it takes far less time, again, to set these up. You could be set up in days versus months if everything is off the shelf, and you can start cash flowing again in this model within 3 days. Payback here, if you had to put anything up front, could be up to about 6 months' time. And you have less concern about seasonality in this model. Just make sure that you are upfront with the landlord that there will be seasonality if it is inside of this model, okay? You don't want to have the landlord expecting to see a $10,000 month all year round when suddenly you have dips in the seasons and they were expecting a bit more, okay? Now, remember to reduce your savings anywhere between that $15,000 to $80,000 if you have to put in any upfront cash to get this process done. And remember to recalculate how many months' time you have left of savings so that you're not finding yourself running short, right? You're going to spend the first few months replacing your savings, which means you'll have to spend more time inside your W-2 before you can completely net that out and replace your W-2 income. Which brings us to step number 3, and that is to execute, all right? You have a plan, you have chosen a model, you ran your market analysis. It is time to execute. This is where mostly everybody else will click to another video and skip right past this part because you fail to take action. If you want to quit your job, you need to take action on these events, okay? Sign the lease, build a plan for exactly what furnishings you need, and go out there and acquire that furniture. If you need help with this, go to the description and sign up for my email list, and I will send you a free list of everything you need to put inside of your Airbnb. List that property and start earning cash flow. Listed on Airbnb, VRBO, Facebook Marketplace, wherever you could possibly list it, get it out there for everybody to see, okay? Now, don't just stop at listing the property. Automate as much as possible because remember, you are still working a full-time job. You have not quit your job yet. So you're going to need to automate your platform calendars, your messaging, your cleaning services, and all you will need to do is simply follow up on some day-to-day questions that the guests may have, okay? Whether you have one property or 50 properties, the total time spent is approximately 3 hours a week total, okay? So it really doesn't consume much of your time, which makes it such an ideal revenue stream while you are still working a job. Don't forget to check in on your results here for this first few days, few weeks in this first month, and adjust wherever you fall below expectations of where your cash flow should have been, okay? Deliver the best quality, and do not forget, very important, to ask for those 5-star reviews after each guest checks out. Which brings us to step number 4, repeat. You built the framework, you are now running a live cash flow model and starting to understand exactly how much monthly average earnings you can get in cash flow. Don't make this mistake, okay? Don't make this big mistake. Don't go out and spend your new earnings on things other than opening another B&B, okay? Take all of your money that you've accumulated, and when you have enough funds available, go out and open yet another Airbnb. Don't make this mistake. Don't waste time and stop your momentum. This is what happens when a lot of people open their B&Bs. They say, oh, I got one open, and then they pause. They're not actively out looking for the next listing because they say, well, I don't have any money right now. It still takes you time to find that second listing. Go out there and actively seek these listings, and believe me, you'll have in the back of your mind exactly how much money you need to acquire that property. Maybe you need to step into it. Maybe you just need to put the money down for the lease, get the security deposits handled, and then maybe step into it a month later and get your furnishings. However it takes, keep putting that accumulated money back into acquiring more and more property. Because remember, the efforts are the same whether you have 50 or 1. You're spending the same amount of effort, all right? And you will not quit your job if you stop. It is only after you have accumulated a few properties that you can actually quit your job. I find it to average around 4 to 5 properties and about 6 months time before a person can go and quit their jobs. Once that momentum builds up and you start building a lot more cash flow, you can start taking down a lot more properties. Maybe you can start taking down 4 or 5 at a time, and you can see your wealth starting to double, quadruple. Before you know it, you're running a multi-million-dollar business in very little time. I hope you enjoyed the video and that you follow along the steps to finding your new creation of wealth today. Get started. Don't waste any time. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to be signed up for future content. And if you'd like me to go into more depth on anything that I explained today, leave a comment down below and I'll answer those questions maybe in the next upcoming video, all right? Hit that like button. And if you need help starting your Airbnb short-term rental today, go up to the description and join my email list. I'm always sending out free stuff, free lists, free market analysis, you name it, will go out in my emails. Don't forget, you could also sign up for my crash course found in the description. It's a crash course on starting an Airbnb where you can get into the game for as little as $50, cash flow in 3 business days, earning extra $5,000 to $10,000 each and every month. Doesn't require any credit, doesn't require a ton of upfront capital. You can get this started today and scale quickly. Set up a coaching session with me also through the description if you need one-on-one advice. I hope you all take these actions today and get yourselves started. I will catch you all in the next one. Bye for now.